Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Cinema. And today we are going to talk about the much anticipated The Court Life or Aadujeevitham. Every once in a while comes a film announcement that you really care about and you look forward to. The Court Life was one such film for me ever since I got to know about this project, which had been in the discussion since 2009, and 15 years later, it's finally here. Not just the cast or the director or the music director, it's the whole theatrical experience that I was looking forward to, that really drew my interest. And because, firstly, it being based on a book that talks about this real life story of Najib, and secondly, it being a survival drama, a genre which is visited very rarely in Indian cinema. And the trailer just raised the expectations, and with great expectations comes great anticipation, I guess. So first of all, there's no doubt that it's a really good watch. I mean, let's just first admit it, you are glued to the screen throughout. Not for a moment I picked up my phone, which is the case in many films, but thankfully this was not the case with the Court Life, because the film was able to suck you into its world, and at the same time, that's where I think it being a good watch is where I thought it somehow just ended up missing the bullseye for me and became a case of what could have been. The first half is really well paced. It sets up the plot line and the two contrasting worlds of Kerala and the Middle East with a lot of conviction, as we see Najib leave his hometown for Saudi to earn and provide for his family, and gets the shock of his life when he ends up in the middle of nowhere amongst animals, realizing that he has been trapped and enslaved. The journey of his of this transition, that Blessy and Prithvi take you through, this whole transformation, it's really dynamic. It varies a lot and makes you feel a lot. It makes you feel uncomfortable at times, it makes you feel sorry for him, it makes you care for him, root for him, and you feel that sort of restlessness, that helplessness yourself up until the interval block. After that, it's the second half actually for me that somehow didn't really uh, build onto the momentum that the first half had gotten. There's an incredible scene where Najib takes a bath after many, many years, sensing a tinge of freedom in that scene, expressing out loud the years of frustration that was building up inside of him. And that for me is a takeaway scene from second half. But other than that, the whole escape plan, the execution of that with the other two characters felt a little bit too stretched for me, and I reached a sort of saturation point. I mean, I get the director, wanted the audience to feel what the character is going through, from one mirage to another in the desert where time literally stands still and there's just no end to it. But I thought the edit could have been a little more crisper there, and then as we get to the back end of the second half, the contrast between a good Arab and the bad Arab was little too extreme for me. I mean, it's either black or white. There's no in betweens, and it felt a little bit understating after 2 hours 45 minutes, building onto it. The whole the way it all ends. See, there's no question about how incredibly Prithvi has committed to this character, both externally and internally, and his performance doesn't let you down. I mean, it doesn't let you blink for a moment, even when certain sequences feel a bit overstretched. And that is the brilliance of an actor who is, at the prime of his powers, who's having this astute command over his skills after so many years of, experience. The direction, just like Donkey, where I felt Raju Rani kind of felt outdated, didn't really update himself with time, being a slightly previous generation director, uh, making it all too melodramatic, not as subtle. I think Blessy treated the film in the same way, in a way or something. I mean, while the film technically looks really good and tight, I think it could have done away with a couple of romantic sequences between the lead pair, which felt one too many for me, and rather could have focused more on what his wife or his mother were going through when Najib lost his contact from them. Because after a point, it's only one side of point of view that we are getting all throughout. Cinematography was my favorite part of the technical aspects, portraying the desert and Najib's life among the animals so well, so wonderfully, especially the scene where he ends up drinking water from the same place where the animals do. So, and the songs, they were aptly placed, I think, by Rahman sir. He has done a really good job when it comes to songs, but the score was, again, I thought a bit too much for my liking. Maybe a bit of spoon feeding at times where it wasn't needed, but that's more of a director's call than a music director's call. The Goat Life, all in all, for me, was a film that promised a hell of a lot than it delivered. I think the book also deals with Najib's psyche on a much deeper level, especially fighting his sexual urges, which would have been interesting to see had Blessy and Prithvi decided to take the audience through that conflict the character goes through. I mean, the source material offers us so much, and the second half, instead of exploring what the family goes through back in Kerala, instead of exploring how Najib felt about the animals who were kinder to him than humans, uh, it just kept going on and on with the escape sequence. But and I say that but in capital letters, even with the flaws, I think The Goat Life deserves a theatrical watch and deserves an applause even more for bringing this ambitious project to life, surrendering to Najib and his story, and a career best performance by Prithvi. So that were my thoughts on The Goat Life, what I felt about the film. We'll do a much deeper discussion as well, maybe next week with a couple of other panelists. But for now, this is Keshav signing out. Let me know in the comments what you felt about the film and if you agree or disagree with me. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.